Hello and welcome back. If you watched Wednesday's sort of back garden tour, you will know that in today's video we are going to be focusing our garden tour on the orchard, the sundeck and the side, sort of the patio side garden. I'm starting here because I wanted to just give you this bird's eye view of the orchard. I'm so excited to take you down there. Oh, we have had some winds, let me tell you, and some wobbles. I'll see if I can, I don't know if how good the zoom of this camera is. Oh, you might be able to make it out. Can you see something very exciting on the raspberry bush? Can you see that? Can you see that little pop of red there? We have our very first raspberry and I think it is ready for us to harvest it. So I literally just saw this morning. Came out. They've been sort of green this entire time and then came out this morning onto the sun deck to kind of just look over how the orchard was doing, and I could see it and I was like, oh my gosh, what is that red? So we are going to head down there in a moment and we will harvest the first raspberry together. But before we do that, I thought we would start back on the patio area and I'll give you a little update through there, and then we'll do the sun deck and then we'll head here into the orchard. Just before we sort of get into the garden beds, I wanted to give a little update on the hyacinths. So I will definitely be planting hyacinth bulbs again next year, and I will definitely be doing multiple little pots of hyacinth bulbs. When I tell you the joy that these have brought me, and the bees, it's brought the bees a lot of joy as well. The bees have loved these. So I had 8 bulbs. Every single bulb has come up, and I didn't know this about hyacinths. Maybe it's really common knowledge, but they flower twice. I didn't realize that. So I got, this one here is, I think, done. And I've just cut off the dead ones. But can you see there's 2 flower stems there? So we got the first set of flowers and then I cut that one off. And then I just left the greenery there. And then I got a second flush of blooms. Incredible. This has brought me so much joy throughout the whole of spring. Cannot wait to do this again. Such a great experiment. I'm toying with, so I've never actually planted bulbs before. I'm in a I probably should have started with that. Apologies. In the event you didn't watch Wednesday's video, I'm in Australia. I'm in the state of Queensland and I'm in a subtropical gardening zone. So we do not get cold enough temperatures here to be able to plant bulbs out. So I've never planted bulbs before. And as a little experiment that I actually did with you, we popped the bulbs in the fridge for a few weeks to sort of simulate that cold, sort of low chill hours, and then planted them out into this pot, all 8 bulbs, and every single one of them came up. Easiest experiment, and the payoff has been incredible. Absolutely incredible. I just got a pack of like the multicolored ones. So yes, I might be quite daring next year, and while I'll pick up the hyacinths again, definitely, I might have a little look at the other bulbs and just see what my options are. Maybe I could try a couple of different things like tulips or snowdrops. That would be really nice. Anyway, I wanted to give you that update because they made me so unbelievably happy. So I will just say, if you are in a subtropical climate like I am, no matter where you are in the world, it is possible to grow bulbs. You just need to put them in the fridge first. And they won't, I think in colder climates, you can reuse them and they kind of come back every year. The bulb resprouts every year. We can't do that here. But this has been a couple of months of joy. So very, very happy with that. All right, so just moving into the garden beds now. I mentioned this in Wednesday's video, but I'll mention it again. If you've been subscribed for a little while, you will know it's been really, really busy over the last couple of months. And when I have been in the garden, I've been really focusing a lot on the orchard. So that's kind of where my garden focus has been, and as a result, the rest of the garden is a little bit unruly at the moment. So there are a bit of weeds, there's some deadheading that needs to happen, all of those sorts of things. So you're going to see that in this video. Just ignore it. It is what it is. It is the reality of gardening. You know, sometimes you just don't have time to get to everything. Now, oi, do not ask about this. This is my mum's little invention here. So this is the new the new Oriental lace cap hydrangea. And you can see it's new because it's still got those really gorgeous pink flowers. So my soil here is actually quite acidic. So in months to come, these flowers will turn blue, which is completely fine. But at the moment they're still pink. But Mum was concerned that she was getting a little bit too much sun. So she attempted to construct this kind of little shading contraption to give sort of the roots and the soil and the lower levels of the hydrangea some shade, in the hope that that would make her happy. What I'm going to do long term is just get a tall plant and plant it there behind her, so it'll kind of grow up and then shade her and just give her that little bit of extra shade that they need. They're not huge fans of afternoon sun, and this area does get a lot of afternoon sun, so yeah. Next time we go to the garden centre, we will be getting a plant for just behind the hydrangea here. All the ferns are looking really good. This garden bed is always a little bit wild and sort of whimsical, and there's always a lot going on in here. Lots of textures and colours, which I actually really like. So you've sort of got like the whiter grasses, you've got the you know, the really strappy leaves, and then you've kind of got the ferns, and then you've got these larger trees that have got, you know, the thicker, greener, and then we've got some, like over here you can see like almost yellow and white, like variegated leaves. There's just, yeah, some really, really pretty plants in here that just provide that, all that kind of texture that is just very beautiful to look at in a cottage style garden. But super happy with how everything is looking in here. It really just needs some TLC. It needs a little bit of time to be devoted to it, kind of just to clean it up, shape some things, but then it will be perfect again and looking gorgeous. Water fountains going for it. The water fountains that you see in my garden, they're all solar powered. As I said earlier, I'm in Australia. We get a lot of sun here, so I'm able to have solar panelled water fountains throughout the garden. They're just, I have assembled these with you before, and I've unboxed them with you before. I've got a number of them throughout the garden. They're so easy because they're solar. There's no electrician required, there's no plumbing required. It just kind of comes as one sort of setup. So if you're in an area that gets a lot of sun, cannot recommend solar water features any more highly. Everything's looking really pretty in here, getting all these pretty little white flowers, and again, just all that layering I think is really nice. All the different colours and textures and, you know, greenery and flowers, all looks very pretty. Now, coming over to the sun deck area, you will recall that we transplanted the mini roses into this new pot here. It was probably a little bit late in the season to be doing that, and while, as you can see, they have been incredibly resilient and incredibly hardy, and they are flowering, they probably would have done better if I had transplanted it earlier. But as you can see by all, I'll take you over in a minute a lot closer, as you can see by all the flowers on there, they're so much happier in this larger pot. So I'm very, very pleased that I did transplant them. I'm basically kind of just babying them now, just until they get more established, and particularly with this hotter weather that we've been having. Yeah, I'm giving them a little bit of extra attention with some extra water and food and things. But as you can see, we are getting, there's several mini roses in here. I think there's maybe 3 or 4 mini rose plants in here. So if you're noticing, you know, different colors in the roses and different leaf structures and that's why. So that we've got these really pretty sort of apricot ones. We've got the paler pink ones, and then we've also got the little red ones. So all in this pot here, but they are looking really nice. They just need a little bit of a deadhead. So apologies for showing it to you before I could get to the deadheading, but I was excited to come out here today after I discovered my little tiny jewel of a surprise, my little ruby down there in the orchard. So I thought we would do this tour together. So that's looking really nice. These are also looking really good. So these are just a climbing vine, and I had originally underplanted these with mini roses. They just didn't do as well as I would have liked, and so they got transplanted out into the cottage garden, like the back cottage garden, and would you believe they're doing so well, so well. But what I then underplanted here with was jasmine. So you can probably make out a few of just the last of the little tiny flowers there, but you can see it's got all new growth, so it's very, very happy. And eventually the jasmine will kind of climb up this plant that's already here, and it'll kind of use that as a climbing structure. And then hopefully at the flowering time of year, we will get gorgeous jasmine flowers and that beautiful scent. This was another pot that we transplanted together. So you'll probably remember I had maybe 5 or 6 little tiny pots here with an assortment of herbs and capsicums, basically. Herbs and capsicums. And it was just looking a little bit messy. So we reduced the number of pots, and we've got one larger pot here, and I've got lemon balm in here, which is, oh my gosh, loving life. Would you look at that? She'd kind of been struggling, and I wonder if it was the cold weather, because she is lush at the moment. It surprised me when I came out this morning. I literally did a double take. Could not believe how happy she was. I use the lemon balm for my tea. So I have Japanese sencha green tea, and I add a few leaves of the lemon balm into my green tea. It's really lovely. Similar, at the back there you can see I have sage leaves, and so I also add the sage into my tea. And I obviously also cook with it. I've got rosemary elsewhere in the garden, and so if I'm doing roasts and stews and that kind of thing, I'll add rosemary and fresh sage into it. So that's also looking really nice and has bounced back from the transplant. I was a bit worried about them. The other one is the red climbing spinach. Malabar, I'm pretty sure it's called Malabar spinach. This one here. You will recall, it was all the way up, and it started to produce all these berries. I'll show you closely here. Can you see the berries? So this little structure, if I zoom in, those little things there, sort of the green and with a little pink tip, that is its flower, okay? So that's kind of how the spinach flowers. And then those flowers eventually sort of turn this dark kind of color, and they create a berry that has the seed in them, and then those seeds drop, and that's how you get more of this spinach. And the entire plant was covered in those berries because it's obviously spring and it's that time of year, but that meant that it wasn't producing any leaves, so I couldn't eat it. So I did a bit of a hard prune on it and tried to reduce the number of flowers, berries that it had, in the hope that it would bounce back, 1, but 2, that it would start to produce more leaves. So fingers crossed. That was only last weekend, so yeah, we'll see how it goes. These here are the snack capsicums. This one is on its own because it's actually a gift for somebody. I'm going to give that to them as a little gift because they've always been very interested in mine. So I'm just keeping it quite happy and healthy here. You can see we're getting little tiny capsicums already, which is a bit of a shame because I've not been able to give it to them and they're not in a position at the moment to take it. But in here, can you see we've got a bunch of little capsicums starting. Quite a number of them actually, which is brilliant. These snack capsicum plants are exceptional. Like, look at this one here. They have a really high yield, and the capsicum itself is quite a sweet, sort of mild capsicum. So they're delicious in like omelettes, quiches, that sort of thing. That's what I've been using them for anyway. So that's all on here. Let's head into the orchard. Just very quickly, I know I showed you this in Wednesday's video, but just for comparison. So this is also an oriental lace cap hydrangea. So like the pink one I just showed you before, this was also pink and of a similar size when it was planted. But as you can see, it is no longer pink. They are sort of a really pretty, almost periwinkle kind of bluey purple colour. I assume the other one will turn this colour eventually. We've got little Nigel the gnome guarding the entrance to the orchard. He's so cute. He makes me smile every time I see him. As seems to be the routine with us when we come into the orchard for a bit of an update, I'm going to start in this corner here. I'm very, very pleased to report that all of these flowering plants are just, yeah, happy. I haven't lost a single one. As you can see, the white have, I'll put the, as I'm going around, I will put the names of the plants on the screen just down here in the bottom, just so you've got correct spelling of everything. So these are doing really well. The lavender's doing well. These were like Mauve Moon or something like that they were called. All three of them are doing, they're all getting their flowers now. And you can kind of just see they're like a very pretty, almost like cup-shaped flower. And they've all got sort of a little tiny variegation to colour. So that one's slightly paler purple, whereas that one at the back is a bit more of a vibrant purple. So the intention here, these three and these two are ground covers. So eventually I'm hoping that they will kind of cover the ground here, cover the dirt, but also suppress the weeds, because there are a lot of weeds in the orchard at the moment. This is one of the Washington navel that we transplanted from out of the cottage garden. I'm very, very pleased to report it seems to be okay. It has been a month, 2 months now since the transplant. Maybe 2 months since they were transplanted into these positions. And we did get a little bit of leaf fall, which you will know. I've taken you on the entire journey of this orchard. We did get a little bit of leaf fall, but that seems to have stopped now. And you can see here we've got new growth. And like these leaves here all look fairly healthy. They're upright. They're looking happy, so very, very pleased with that. I have started fertilizing now, so I have a fortnightly schedule where, so once a fortnight I sort of come out and I do all of the vegetables and fruit trees. So they are all back onto that schedule. This is the second Washington navel. This is actually new, this one. So we didn't transplant this. It is a new plant that we added to the orchard, and she flowered prolifically, and you can see there she is trying very, very hard. Oh gosh, sorry for the wind. Oh. You can see there, see those little green balls? They are oranges. That is how your orange starts, as a little tiny green ball. She's a very, very young plant. So I don't like the likelihood of her being able to like sustain the fruit throughout the entire process. I'll be honest, I think you're supposed to knock all the fruit off at this point so that she can focus on her roots. I always feel so bad doing that though. It makes me feel so guilty when they've tried so hard to produce fruit and then you're meant to just pull them off. Anyway, I haven't done that yet, so she's doing very well, loving life here. As I said, Washington navel. I'm in subtropical, as I said earlier, which means citrus does really well in my climate. Can't really grow like apples or pears or anything like that. Anything that requires a large number of chill hours just doesn't do well here. I don't know what to say. This is the Maya lemon, I'm pretty sure. It's a lemon tree. I just can't remember what variety it is. Now, this one struggled after after we moved it here, and you can see, and it's been quite a while, but the leaves are still drooping. What's interesting is that the leaves are drooping, but it hasn't dropped the leaves. So I don't know. I don't know what that means. I was pleased to see, if you can you see that? Oh. Put my hand there, will it help? Oh gosh. Camera just, there we go, that's a little bit better. Can you see that is all new growth there? They're all new leaves. So hopefully, I mean, if it's showing new growth, I'm taking that as a positive sign. And if it wasn't obvious, I am not an expert gardener. I am a novice, and all of my gardening bits are experiments, and kind of I just learn as I go. I'm sure that was super obvious, but just, you know, letting you know. But yeah, so I'm taking that personally as a positive sign now that there is a little bit of new growth, but I kind of would have thought it would have dropped the leaves. But who knows? Our gorgeous little statue here. Gosh. I still think she is so pretty. So she's a bird bath. You can see she's got a little bird there, and she's lifted up the top layer of her skirt. You can see there's some of her skirt down the bottom, but she's lifted up the top layer of her skirt, which is actually petals. And the attention to detail, like look at that, can you see? You can see like all the veining in the petals. And on her shirt sleeve as well, she's got all the little leaves and petals and that. But the detail that they've gone to when they've created this piece of art. Her little tiny shoes. Oh. Lavender, doing well. The seedless mandarin, doing exceptional. She's got all flowers. Can you see all of her little white flowers budding up? So they are all flower buds. She's full of them, full of flower buds and new growth. Like, look at this. All new growth. If you have been subscribed for a while, I will have shown you this seedless mandarin many times in its old location in the cottage garden, and I'm sure you will agree with me, she has never looked so happy. She just looks, she's put on so much growth, so I don't think she's ever flowered this much. So we may get some mandarins this year. Delicious. Now, this one is probably the biggest wobble, I'd say. This is the third Washington navel. So she was transplanted from the cottage garden, and she was really struggling in the old location. Her leaves were all yellow. she's just very, very, very sad. And we transplanted her because she had been sad for quite a while and just not producing fruit for a number of years. And we just thought, let's just take the chance, the risk of moving her. And so we moved her, and she just, I mean, you followed along to the entire, you know, how we built this orchard. And she struggled from day one. She's sort of never really recovered from being repositioned, and she lost all of her leaves, they dropped, and she has just not bounced back. And I don't know if she's just too far gone now. I can't see any new growth on her at all. I'm thinking what I might do, if I squat down here, can you see, like, there's some weird little branches here, and what I think, and like this one here, I think what I'm going to do is cut them off, and like probably this one here as well, cut them off and check inside the branch that I sort of cut off whether it's still alive, like is the tree still alive? It looks like it is to me, but again, as I've said, I am an amateur gardener. See, to me, this looks like it's alive, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't want to remove her unnecessarily. You know, if she's just taken a beat and, you know, trying to recover and develop her root system, and she just needs, you know, a month or two to kind of get settled and then get her leaves again, perfectly fine, no issue at all. But I don't know. So I think that that's going to be the plan. I think I'm going to remove a couple of the branches that aren't the best, that aren't positioned great. And then I'll have a little look and we'll sort of see what she looks like, whether the branches are still like alive, if you will. If they're not and the branches look dead, I will probably pull her out. I'll probably pull her out and put another navel orange in there. It was a risk. I did say that to you at the very, very beginning of the orchard project. It was a risk, moving established trees. And if this is the only one that we lose, I'm counting that as a win and an absolute triumph. So I'm hoping, ooh, sorry, my skirt, my dress. I'm really hoping that she does bounce back, but we'll see. We'll do that together in a coming video. We'll cut some of the branches and we'll see what it looks like. Cut flowers are doing just so well. There's a few of these ones here that have sort of flopped over, but the actual flowers themselves are still really pretty. So I think I might go grab a little trug and some secateurs and cut them and take them inside and do a little flower arrangement inside. But pretty much it looks to me like most of my seeds have come up. I will say I've now got the problem where weeds, you can kind of see weeds are starting to come up through the mulch here in the orchard, and I'm assuming some of these might be weeds as well, but I don't know how you tell. So I'm just gonna have to let the weeds go, and we'll hopefully see once things start to flower whether they are weeds or not. But that is looking really great. Lavender, the Powder Puff Perfections are looking a little bit sad, but I think that it's just because they need deadheading. Some of them are sort of flopped over. The wild roses are doing, the Banksia wild roses, climbing ones, that's the yellow one there at the back. They're doing well, they've put on growth, and they're starting to do their thing. The peach tree, the fruit tree that I worried about the most and assumed was going to die and not make it, is doing the best. This one and the mandarin, funnily enough, the two that I was most concerned about, because it always seemed to me like the weakest ones, and yet they've both done the best out of all of them in the move. So just goes to show. But she is very, very happy, loving life. you will have seen over the last couple of videos she had flowers on her, so I'm not sure if we'll get fruit. I'm kind of doubtful that we would get fruit, given, you know, she was moved, which is completely fine. I wasn't expecting to get any flowers or any fruit at all, so we'll just kind of wait and see, but very happy with how she's looking. I'll swap sides. We've got powder puffs here that need deadheading. Lavender looks okay. This is the white Banksia rose. Goodness, I really need to take these labels off. But that's it there. And it's also very happy. Got all new shoots, starting to sort of grow its way up. I really just need to get some time out in the garden. What's coming through on the other side is jasmine. So jasmine kind of needs to be cut back a little bit, and then the Banksia rose kind of trailed through. But yeah, that's all looking really good. Now, I've saved the best for last. Cascade lily pilly is doing great. This cascade lily pilly that I was sure was going to die, so this actually got transplanted from the front of the property and it was doing horrendously. Well, would you look at that, all new leaves. And then we are in berry corner, and look at that, look at it. Oh, I saw it this morning. Now don't judge its size, okay? Just be happy for me. It is the very first raspberry. My very first one. I've never grown a raspberry before. And there you go. So I've still got some other berries on here to come. There's another 5 berries on there. But this one I think is going to be ready to harvest. So I'll test it in a minute. It says that when you harvest them, you shouldn't have to pull at all. You just basically almost want to touch it, and if it drops off into your hand, that's when it's ready. So this is a Atherton raspberry bush. It is a raspberry that is very suited to subtropical climates. So normally your European raspberries require a large number of chill hours. I don't get that here, so I actually can't grow traditional raspberries. So this is not a traditional raspberry, it is a tropical raspberry, if you will. I think I've left its little tag on, yes I have. And that is it there. So it fruits most of the year, and it's a native. I am unbelievably excited about it. Now, the reason I have put it in this pot, this very large pot, which makes it seem a little bit sad, is because they are very, very vigorous growers, and if you plant them in the ground, they will take over. And I didn't want that hassle in the orchard. Sorry, the camera cut me off. Yes, I didn't want the hassle of having to worry about it taking over the orchard space, so I have placed it in a large sort of barrel pot here. We did this together, we planted up this whole section together, so you saw me do it. You actually saw me I ordered this online and it came in the mail. We did all of that together in a video, so if you're interested in that, definitely go back and watch that video. But it is looking so happy and healthy. You will know if you watch that video how much it's grown. So I did show you when it arrived, it had very itty bitty tiny little growths down the bottom, and it's already grown so much. We're just getting new growth everywhere. I will say it does have thorns on it, so you do need to be careful, but we're getting a lot of new growth, which makes me super happy. So I'm pleased that means it's happy here. It's getting enough water, it's, you know, all the new growth is really green, which means it's getting the right nutrients. When it arrived, again, if you watch that video, you'll know, when it arrived, some of the leaves were a little bit discolored, and I googled it, and it basically just said that it was a nutrient deficiency, which wasn't surprising given the very, very tiny pot that it arrived in. But yes, so I am just so happy. I'm so happy that it is happy, and I have my very first raspberry. Now, before we harvest that, and before I end this video, I did just want to show you the blueberries. So this is the blueberry bush that I've had for a while. This is the Sunshine Blue, and I also got a second blueberry, which was the Biloxi blueberry. So both of them are low chill varieties. I should also say that all of the citrus trees that are in, so the citrus, the oranges, the mandarins, the lemons, and the peach tree are all dwarf fruit trees. I didn't make that clear, so I'm just making that clear now. They're all dwarfs, so they only get about 1 to 2 meters max. So just if you're thinking you like fruit trees, and you've only got a small space, just make sure you get the right type. You do not want to get a full-fledged orange tree, because that will take over your whole garden, unless of course you've got acreage. So the Sunshine Blue blueberry is actually a dwarf blueberry. It only gets about 1 meter, and the Biloxi blueberry, which is the one at the back, isn't a dwarf, so it gets about 2 meters, which is still not bad. And in this little sort of berry corner here, that's perfectly fine for it to do its thing. But I wanted to show you, so the Sunshine Blue, as you can see, has got heaps of fruit on it, and they have just started to turn, which I'm unbelievably excited about. It's also getting a second flush of flowers, as you can see. The Biloxi, I think, is done, but I did notice one little flower there, so I don't know what that means. I don't know if it will get more flowers and I might get blueberries from it. Who knows? I got 2 different varieties, because while they are self-pollinating blueberries, apparently it does help your yield if you have 2 different varieties of blueberries. So that is, yeah, why I have 2. But my camera battery is actually flashing, which is very frustrating. So I've probably got a couple, or maybe a minute to go, and I want to harvest this raspberry if I can. So I'm just very gently applying pressure. Oop, there you go. My very first. Oh gosh, I'm sorry, the lighting is terrible. Can you see it? Oh, that's better. Wow. Look at it. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, I think I'm going to have it for dessert. Have it like in some ice cream or something like that. My very first one. Oh, it's made me so happy. Wow. Oh, incredible. So fingers crossed, the ones that are left on there will also eventually turn red, and we'll be able to harvest those. All right, as I said, camera battery is flashing, so I'm going to bid you farewell. Thank you so much for joining me for all the garden tours this week. I hope you really enjoyed seeing just how everything is going, getting a bit of an update, me sharing all the super exciting things that's happened. There was a lot of exciting things in Wednesday's video, I know, but yeah, seeing my first little raspberry, oh my gosh, I should have blueberries soon, and just, yeah, getting a good update on the orchard here as well. But yeah, I'm going to bid you farewell now. As always, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week for a new video. And I think next week, it might be next week, we have another secret project that is starting. So do subscribe if you want to see that and watch a full transformation. All right, bye.